Hey guys, and welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Collins.
And we are here in Ticonderoga.
Yes.
But we have some interesting stuff to talk to you guys about.
Yes, about the ship, the new ship.
The new Discovery.
We saw the alpha design. It has changed since. We saw a poster with a very teeny version.
Yes.
We waited. Then we got this image when they announced the premiere date, and it is a nice high-res image. It's different, but it's not different. What do you think, Stuart?
Like you said, it's subtly different. I don't know if it's the final version of the ship.
I think they've said it isn't the final.
Yeah, not 100% sure on that though.
No.
So don't quote us.
No.
But I do like the overall look. I liked the first one we saw, even with the brownish copperish hull coloring.
Which was a bit weird though. It was a bit weird.
It was weird, but I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
This I really I like a lot more. I do like the striping, the Aztecing on it, kind of the reverse arrowhead striping. I think it looks sleek.
If you guys know that, then thanks for being fans. Yeah, it's. I was very surprised by this image. There's a lot more stuff, a lot more detail.
Yeah.
Now we've seen a precedent with the Shinzao. The fact that there's like stripes and there's darker. That sort of is now a precedent.
Yeah.
This sort of follows vaguely in that line, but it is its own feel. I don't know. I don't want to get closer. Can I get closer? I'm going to get closer. Oh.
No, get closer.
I want to see closer. Live, almost. Yeah. I'm kind of confused a little bit. There's just so much going on.
Yeah.
So many lines, so many bits, so many... I mean, the design is clearly the same, although a fan sent us a render, our render, in fact, of the top view, which is obviously roughly what it is, but actually the angles have been pushed further down, sleeker. The saucer shrunk quite a good chunk.
Yeah.
So proportionally, I like this better.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I definitely would. The new color scheme, like I said, looks really good. Doesn't speak TOS, but then again, I think we've kind of come to the conclusion that this is not Prime. I do like where the USS Discovery is on the saucer.
That is,
that looks really cool.
Yeah, I think fundamentally we are so beyond the point of being Prime to try to fit into Cage era or TOS era that we're not looking at it in that vein, looking at it as a pure design, pure creativity, because it's unfair at this point to make it a Prime, because it's not. So, very, very bold Aztecing. I mean, this is a whole other level of Aztecing. This is, because a darker feel gives it more textured, but a darker... Or is it just the lighting they've done in this render?
It could just be the lighting, because this is very bright and blue. I don't know if they did that to make this pop a little more.
Maybe.
I like it though. I do like the differentiations on the hull. I mean, I really think that's something that looks cool. I do miss the TOS aesthetic where it's all a smooth hull-ish. Yeah. I know they kind of added more Aztec into the remaster.
Well, the Shinzao was a nice midway, actually. My detail versus not detail.
Yeah, that's what makes me think this might be really enhanced for this image.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Now, the big reveal is, and we see this in the poster image, which confirms it, with the Alpha Discovery, they had that ring of detailing in the centre of the saucer, which is akin to the Franklin style. Mm-hmm. This version, in fact, has a space in the ring. There's a central ring, an outer ring with 4 pylons attached, and you can see that. It's hard to see in this photo, although you can see.
Yeah.
But it's revealed in the other photo. Now, what do you think about that design choice?
It's interesting. Again, it looks visually it's nice. I love having that kind of, multi-level texturing.
Right.
Instead of just a smooth hull, it makes it something unique.
Unique is a good word.
Onto it itself, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's the practicality in having that? We don't know yet. Maybe there is a really great detailed explanation as to what's going on there. Right now, I think it looks amazing, but there has to be a reason.
And again, it looks amazing for its own sake, not for the Star Trek TOS sake.
Yes.
That's the clarification.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, obviously it brings up the Vengeance, the only other ship to have a hull. Pretty universally disliked the hull. There's some sort of... It would be better without it. The design just overall better without it. So this is taking that aspect from the Kelvin timeline.
Yeah.
Again, if form follows function, I'll buy it. If there's a reason... Now, I'm thinking this could be the auxiliary craft. Enterprise D had the little captain's yacht, or what if then, if you the Constitution class can source separate, this is a bigger ship than the Constitution class, we think, certainly in scale, so definitely bigger saucer. So what if the middle value can separate, become a secondary craft, important for some reason. Who knows? Then having those pylons, I suppose, makes sense. It's not a structurally sound option, but if splitting is a big part of its function, and then you could obviously say that links Enterprise D. It's a nice callback or call forward, I suppose, in technology. Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping there's a functional reason because it's very not Starfleet conventional design. And I need is like the Nova with the bit cut out, or there are exceptions to every rule. They went away from the saucer in TNG, Yeah. So we're not saying that they can't have this as a valid design, but I wish the design wasn't just stylistic. They didn't just say, "Hey, let's add a hole in the saucer because it means we can put people in them and look down." That's not a good reason, especially for Star Trek, Star Wars. Yeah.
One thing I did notice about this top view, just while you were talking, if you take a Daedalus class ship and look at the ball section from the top, it looks exactly like this.
Yeah.
You've got the big bridge module, and then it's kind of a visual link-in with the Daedalus class style from the top. I mean, that's really stretching, but
that's really interesting.
The other thing I did notice is there are the eyebrows on the sides there. I don't know if they're on the bottom side. I know it's speculated that those are actually landing gear for the saucer when the Constitution class separates, but they have that visual tie-in here as well on each side.
Now we're biased because we have seen further concept art, so we can't speculate as far as we'd want to. But I love that Daedalus link. In terms of age and era, how incredible would it be to have the centerpiece be more like a ball, not full ball, but more, and then they've added the ring. This older ship is the meld of that two designs. Visually interesting. Called back to the TOS Connie, which has those two, dimensions, but make it more fun. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, it'd be merged with like the Daedalus class in the middle, and then the Constitution class on the outer ring.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be probably very interesting. Yeah. Now, again, you're trying to see little details. Center of the ball, the inner detail. There is a ring of
fire.
Yeah. There's like a trench that goes in. But there's a purple detail at the top. Now, do you think that's the bridge module? And do you think it's got a transparent ceiling? Because there's purple there. It could be reflecting, but the way it looks to me is a different colour tone, at the very least.
I would speculate that yes, that is the bridge. We know the Shinji's on the bottom. I don't think they're going to be putting the bridges on the bottom of all these ships in the show. I know a lot of people probably think that kind of thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It could just be that whole center thing is just the bridge, maybe, and maybe it's a detachable bridge module for some reason.
We know they exist everywhere else.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the purple coloration
But wouldn't it be interesting though if, and again, this is not, it's semi-reference to TOS, which did have sort of an open-ish space at the top. Wouldn't it be cool, I mean, again, if they're trying to push the modern elements of technology, so it's trying to be the future of now rather than the TOS future, have the bridge module be, this dome, you've got the front viewer, which will probably be a window, but who knows, and the whole outer wall can become translucent, if need be, to see something, but then can become normal armour, or such. So this is like in a between stage. Because in Enterprise D, we had this open space, no one got to see it really.
Yeah.
But visually, that would be, imagine that'd be, it's like in Galaxy Quest when the doors open up and you see the galaxy. It's like that would be a beautiful shot.
Yeah, and in TOS you got to remember that the bridge dome wasn't necessarily transparent. It was transparent to certain forms of radiation and light. So it's not really like a skylight that they had in the TOS one that a lot of people think.
Yeah. The Enterprise D was.
The Enterprise D definitely was. Absolutely, yeah.
So let's move on to the secondary hull, and we've got new engines. They look shaped different. And again, we are biased a little bit here.
Yeah,
but
they are kind of retaining the shape from the old Alpha ones, but they've been slimmed down a lot. They're less chunky, less bulky.
The smooth edges.
Yeah.
They don't have a box feel. They now have an interesting feel. Not much to say obviously about them, although you could say that the edge of them is now a closer point. But that's probably just a warp effect. So I'm not going to put my reputation on that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I prefer the design. I think on the top it feels more natural. It feels more advanced.
Yeah.
I wish they don't stray from the three facades almost like one. I mean, Enterprise D has one covering dome and then three internal things you sort of see. I'd love two. Well, yeah, two. Yeah. But I'd love that sort of different transparencies to create a different effect.
Yeah.
But again, this is what you said earlier, the reverse arrow shape. I mean, that's a lot of very, very distinct plating. and it really stands out. And I mean, is there a precedent for this that you can think for any other starship having such radical, different something?
Not really. I mean, the refit has some markings on the struts,
yes,
which are similar. They're just not as prominent or as bold.
And on the secondary hull, Andrew Probert designed it, so it tells you where the engine.
Yes, it's called the strong back when you paint the model or you build it.
Right.
That blue section that goes from the struts to the front is called the strong back, and that it's kind of reminiscent of that. Those could be the engineering's. I don't know. It's kind of a stretch there as far as I'm concerned, but
I do certainly like though the way they've done it. It's far more pointy, far more sleek. Sleek is the word. It is refined down. I can imagine getting those angles were very tricky for them, trying to work out what makes most sense. Now, the age-old argument, which I still don't like, is this still a D7 plus Connie put together?
No. I would never agreed with that from the beginning.
No, it's a warp delta plus a...
Yeah.
I
think if we had seen this color initially with the Alpha launch, that would have been squashed right away. The fact that it looked very similar to like a Klingon rusty, kind of hull coloring, I think really brought that argument into the forefront. If we had this initially, I don't think we would have had that argument necessarily. Yeah. And I don't like that idea because it just doesn't make sense. I know everybody's pushing that.
It's a hell of a stretch and a bit contrived as a story. But these angles are not Klingon. I mean, this is a delta. Yeah. This is a delta, not a Klingon shape. And the Klingon shape is much more of a broad and then a down. This is a point.
Yeah.
It is sort of aggressive. It's going to have. I mean, I've animated with a version of the Alpha, and it's got a lovely side view, but it's sort of clunky to turn.
Mm.
This feels like it might
be smoother,
absolutely.
Yeah. I gotta jump on this for a second. The markings here, actually, having said what I just said about the hull coloration, these are very reminiscent of Katinga style wings, almost from the top, with the feathering detail, like patterning.
That I will buy.
So I can see there would be a Klingon thing there as well.
And to be fair, this new reboot style, they're probably going to alter the Klingon ships. So why not make this angle could be the sleeker Klingon ship design? Oh dear. Oh well, no, Robinson, danger. But again, from a conventional Starfleet aesthetic, we're talking obviously.
Mm-hmm. One thing that jumps out to me is this center element here. It looks very much like an impulse engine.
Okay.
Well, it could be from the top. It's just something unique there. Different.
See, my gut was after pure launcher. It's like a little protrusion.
That's right. Cause I think we know the impulse engines are back here on the back of the struts.
Yeah. So my gut is a torpedo tube there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that in this version they've taken out the registry number.
Yeah.
Could that imply they've altered the registry number, or it's now just on the bottom? I mean, that's quite a big thing to take out, since that is a... Mm-hmm. I mean, the USS Discovery is very small text there, and it doesn't stand out. It stands out in the sense that it's white in a weird place, but it doesn't stand out as a... Like, if you were flying with a ship, flying near the ship, and you're trying to register it, you have to be right, you have to see that exact point, whereas the TOS Connie, it's, if you're seeing the bridge, you're seeing it. It's a big, bold piece. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of surprised they went that small. And again, no registry. They've sort of put themselves in a corner. There isn't much space in that saucer room for both, and to not feel like really artistically it wouldn't work. I think.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. See, again, moving the USS Discovery down here, like on where it is on the refit, and having the registry up there would have made more sense to me. But the registry that far up on the saucer would look very Kelvin-verse. Because we know the Kelvins is very pushed forward. So I kind of like the fact that they put Discovery up there.
Again, Discovery, this has more of a unique feel. And we've said before, and we said to a lot of you guys have asked, the development was less prime, more its own style, which is good in its own way, bad in its own way.
Yeah.
So take that as you will. But it's certainly an interesting ship, and more Starfleety, I think. It still maintains the Star Trek-ish element. And I still appreciate they use the old Ralph McCrory, because that was a design of the time.
Yeah.
It was still part of the Trek legacy, and obviously we see one in Star Trek 3, we see one in the Graveyard. That shape is in Trek, the Warp Delta, it was used again. This is a common Trek shape, so it's nice to see a sort of hero version. Although we will say that we learned something new. We were hoping this would be a rust bucket. Yeah. We now know this is newer than Shinzao, which if you look at the internals look hyper advanced NX-01, far more advanced than TOS.
Well,
Well, the bridge.
Again, they look more generic. They look more generic sci-fi than Star Trek, right?
Yes,
We've
yes.
stated that before. So hopefully this bridge has more visual continuity and tie-in with TOS, maybe.
Because it's newer.
We're hoping.
Well, that's the chance, isn't it? They've made the Shinzao much older. You can link to it. I mean, what if the Shinzao is like 60 years old? Then you could link to Angso 1, you can make that jump. But then this hero ship, it's the TOS fanboy ship. You know, this is the... That'd be kind of nice. I'd appreciate that. They get to do best of both worlds. If they spend a lot of time on the Shinzao, then, you know, yeah, I can buy that. Well, the window size, I mean, it's still a bigger ship, I think, than TOS Connie.
It does look bigger than the Connie's.
I still kind of like the idea of having the windows on either side of the rim, looking, you know, so you get a great view up and down and such. Just where to go, you'll be able to see each other. So I'm assuming one set is like the mess hall-y sort of areas, maybe. Like a ring and mess hall or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably about it, guys. But it's interesting. I really appreciate there was a high-res one released. Because it's really interesting.
I just wish there were more views of it, because, you know, everything changes when you see something from the side or from the front.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'd like to see the subtle changes they've incorporated into this one.
I will just say one more thing. This is high enough res to see. Can you see any phasable turrets? There's a weird detail on the right side.
Yeah, I don't see any.
Which is good.
Before they had a whack load on there.
They're more than the Excelsior, and that's a long time in the future.
Yeah.
These might be them, these little bump things, but there's not...
Yeah, that would make sense, actually. So this looks like there might be 4 on the top, which is still... It's better than it was.
But still shouldn't have phasable turrets. And would that be a retcon that you're happy with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as far as I'm concerned, in Starfleet battles they have them.
It's true.
So...
It's such a strange line of grey and black area.
Yeah.
But I think overall, do you like this more than the original Alpha design?
Yes, overall. I think the coloring, I think it's more, the spacing of the engines, the scaled down,
proportions,
the scaled downness of them, and the smaller saucer with the more Federation colors does speak more to. I do like it better, especially for the fact that it's a new ship. If it was an older ship, like an older Rust
fresh paint
that they pulled out, I'd buy the Alpha version totally.
Yeah.
That could be the original version. This is the refit version of the ship.
I like that. So. Yeah, basically my thoughts as well. I like the fleshing out of a design. I like when they're throwing so much in here, which means it's more thought through. Yeah. And we know sort of some behind the scenes of the design process. A lot of thought was put in. So yeah, I like it. I like the Alpha version, and I look forward to seeing this one more. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Great to have a new image. Do you like it better? Do you like it worse? Are you excited for Discovery? Are you excited for the fact it's a reboot, soft reboot, whatever? But still, you know, some good Star Trek to it. So,
all right. So, see you guys soon. Until then, I'm Captain Foley.
I am Connor Holmes.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.